Hey YouTube, happy post-election day. My side won. If your side lost, I can't say it. You have my condolences, but win some, lose some. There was an election day party. It started early yesterday, and it was kind of strange because we weren't sure that we were going to do too well. My side was going to do too well, and we did a lot better than we thought. So it really turned into a blowout party, and wow. But the strangest thing is, a detractor of mine who usually calls himself Tetris Pete wanted to confront me with this equation here, and it's his answer to the year 223 by objective time calculation equals 1921 AD. I've been trying to build some foundation in my webcams leading up to where the Lucifer series is at with that in terms of gematria, numbers as letters and letters as numbers, which I see as the only way to get to the key to Beelzebub. Now, Pete sent me this. I was confused about it. I was very distracted. Very distracted. When I was using a laptop, and I came across this comment of his, and I go, it's Pete, so you can't assume anything when Pete does something. Or what is this? Is this his alternative to it? To my saying that you need to do letter numbers? Is it his way that he's anticipating that this is where this is all going, and it's anybody could figure that out, so what's the big deal? I really didn't have that much of a fix on where he was at. Pete is not a great communicator, and I think he'd been drinking or is smoking dope or something, because it just went on forever. He was upset about me making fun of him in my last video, Key to Gurdjieff 2. Just a little brief clip making fun of his rudeness. We've had a truce, but he's broken it a couple of times. I've let it go, and then I finally decided that this is just going to keep up. He used to be a downright troll. I blocked Pete, okay? Pete comes to the Lucifer series and bugs me about Gurdjieff all the time, he's got a real thing about Gurdjieff, and so the subject's a point of contention between the two of us, and I'm never sure of how substantive it ever really is. Pinning Pete down to a discussion of Gurdjieff, or pinning him down to anything, is pretty taxing, okay? He's an annoying personality. He's just one of those people you have to get used to on YouTube. They're everywhere, and they all have different causes and different rationalizations for their behavior. But it's not anybody you want around, and I've tried to get rid of him, and he's just negatively obsessed with my videos, or at least when I'm talking about certain things. So a long time ago, I just resolved to have fun with Pete's antics. And it was, Neil Fox Exposed, that video is aimed at Pete. And, in general, it's aimed at the Gurdjieffian scene. But, Pete's the poster boy for all of that for me. All of his sense of narcissistic entitlement is priceless. At this point, I don't think he's even aware of it. I don't think Pete's aware of himself as having a problem. Okay? Most of you out there know you have problems. Okay, I don't think Pete's aware of it. I think Pete's convinced that it's everybody else who's got the problem. And it kind of came out last night. He was rambling. He was typing a lot. He was deluging me with comments that he would remove. He removed half of them. He's been doing that lately anyways. And this was a gotcha thing of just, okay, here it is. Anyone can do that. Duh. And, it took me forever to even figure out that was the spirit in which he was presenting it. Because, other things were going on. I was concerned about the election. I was concerned about whether we're going to win. And I'm with friends. And the last thing I want to be doing is dealing with Pete. As far as this goes, Pete's under the impression that it's never occurred to me that you can do this with these numbers. Okay? Well, it's occurred to me, but it just doesn't strike me as very strong. and then there's 22 divided by 3. But even if you want to go with this, how do you make of the 22? You know, in this entire book, 22 does not play a very big role in anything. 20 doesn't play a very big role. Any occultist would say it's an allusion to the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, and that lands you back with Kabbalah and the Sefer Yetzirah and letters as numbers. So, and then that means you're back in my corner. Anyways, it's the next day, and I'm thinking, how would I handle this if someone cool sent it to me? You know, not someone like Pete, you know, my negative sidekick guy. And, okay, look for the patterns in an occult equation, all right? So if you want to do something divided by something equals something, do all of them, all right? Do all of them and see what the pattern is, because that's what codes are about, are patterns. So instead of 22 divided by 3 equals 7.3, let's go to a much easier one and say, 23 divided by 2 equals 11.5. Okay? And you add those digits up. 5 plus 1 plus 1 equals 7. Coincidentally enough, 223, the digits also sum to 7. And keep in mind that the year in Beelzebub's Tales to his grandson, called, you know, Objective Time Calculation Year 223, is 223 years after the creation of the world. The world was supposed to have been biblically, you know, created in 7 days, and so the 7th day is the day of rest. The good ship Karnak that the alien Beelzebub is on stalls in space. There's a respite, and everyone entertains themselves by listening to Beelzebub talk about his misadventures on Earth way back in younger days. So nothing is literal in Beelzebub. The moon isn't the moon. The planets aren't the planets. Even his endlessness is not really his endlessness. And you have to enter into these metaphors and allusions and symbols. So let's look again at 223, and let's switch it around and say 32 divided by 2 equals 16. Now that's 1 plus 6 also equals 7, okay? So 223 equals 7, 1 plus 6 equals 7, and 1 plus 1 plus 5 equals 7, and then we come upon 22 divided by 3 equals 7.3. Okay, now how does that fit the pattern of addition, you know, adding the digits? Because there is a pattern there. You know, the law of 7 and the law of 3. Law of 7 being the ray of creation, and the law of 3 being Gurdjieff's dialectic of opposites meeting and, you know, reconciling into synthesis, and on and on. So the law of 7 plus the law of 3 equals 10, and you take the digits of 10, 1 plus 0 equals 1. You're saying the law of 7 and the law of 3 get back to 1 and oneness, all and everything, all that is. All the cosmos, all of existence is a vast unity. Okay, this is a lot more meaningful than straining to think, 7 and 3, you multiply that into 21. Now you apply multiplication to the other two of 32 divided by 2 or 23 divided by 2, and the multiples, the product that comes of those sums by multiplication, don't have any common ground at all. Right? This is what it's about. It can be just this simple, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Look for the patterns. Codes are about patterns. I'll say the same thing now that I said years ago to a friend in Santa Cruz, and that's that this whole business that I've been talking about here is just a teaser. That's all it is. It's incomplete. It's literally incomplete. 21 is not 1921. It is not 1921. The only way to arrive at equivalence between 223 and 1921 is to take up the correspondence of letters and numbers and the words that arise out of that process and where it takes you. And where it takes you is an equivalence between those two sums. Okay? And it's the only way to arrive at that. Right? Peace. See ya. Thanks for watching.